The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello, everyone. Good to see you again. So I don't have any news. Actually, yes, I do. So my new novel, A Drop of Blue Blood, is done. So all I need to do now is just order my proof copy, make sure that there aren't any glaring errors, and then I will be able to sell it from my website. So I am very, very proud of myself. You know, every time I finish a book, I always pat myself on the back and I go, good job, kid. Now keep doing it. So I will let you know when the book is available for purchase, and there will be two tea blends to go with the book. So stay tuned for details. So I've got 3 books today that I am really excited to talk about. Let's see, and they all come from Inglewood Library. So yay, Inglewood Library. So the first book I've actually read before, but it had been so long since I last read it that for me to read it a second time was like reading it for the first time. And this is The Marriage Plot by Jeffrey Eugenides. I always wonder if I'm pronouncing names right, but let me read the dust jacket for you. It's the early 1980s. The country is in a deep recession, and life after college is harder than ever. In the cafes on College Hill, the wised-up kids are inhaling Derrida and listening to talking heads. But Madeline Hannah, dutiful English major, is writing her senior thesis on Jane Austen and George Eliot, purveyors of the marriage plot that lies at the heart of the greatest English novels. As Madeline tries to understand why it becomes laughable to read writers like Cheever and Updike, who wrote about these suburbia Madeline and most of her friends had grown up in favor of reading the Marquis de Sade, who wrote about deflowering virgins in 18th century France. Real life, in the form of 2 very different guys, intervenes. Leonard Bankhead, charismatic loner, college Darwinist, and lost Portland boy, suddenly turns up in the semiotic seminar, and soon Madeline finds herself in a highly charged, erotic, and intellectual relationship with him. At the same time, her old friend, quote-unquote, Mitchell Grammaticus, who's been reading Christian mysticism and generally acting strange, resurfaces, obsessed with the idea that Madeline is destined to be his mate. Are the great love stories of the 19th century dead? Or can there be a new story written for today and alive to the realities of feminism, sexual freedom, prenups, and divorce? With devastating wit and an abiding understanding of and affection for his characters, Jeffrey Eugenides revives the motivating energies of the novel while creating a story so contemporary and fresh that it reads like the intimate journal of our own lives. And about the author, he was born in Detroit and attended Brown and Stanford universities. His first novel, The Virgin Suicides, was published by FSG to great acclaim in 1993, and he has received numerous awards for his work. In 2003, he received the Pulitzer Prize for his novel Middlesex, which was also a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award, the International Impact Dublin Literary Award, and the France's Prix Médicis. So, like I said, this is the second time that I've read this book, and if you are into literary fiction involving characters on a college campus or prep school campus and the trials and tribulations and the mind-blowing philosophical insights that they go through primarily with each other and on their own, The Marriage Plot is just for you. I did notice that in reading this book a second time that there were some parts that kind of lagged a little bit. And at one point I almost gave up and I said, no, remember, you really like this book. You liked it so far. This is just a sort of a dead spot. Just keep reading. And then all of a sudden it picked right up and I was just right with it to the very end. And it is truly a great literary novel. I thoroughly enjoyed being with Madeline, Leonard, and Mitchell, although many times I wanted to reach out through the pages, grab Madeline and say, hi, I'm from 2025. Don't do what you're doing. Please don't, because on the next couple of 100 pages, you're going to regret it. You're going to do it anyway. Okay, well, I tried to warn you somewhat. But I love the fleshed out characters. I love the dynamic between these three characters and just the balance that the author gives to all the characters' stories in the past and the present and possibly the future. So yes, The Marriage Plot is a great literary work, and I do give it 5 pots of excellent tea. It was a joy and a delight to reread this book, and I've already set my sights on reading Middlesex and the Virgin Suicides, which, by the way, I will say that I have seen the movie The Virgin Suicides, directed by Sofia Coppola, and it was inspired by the book. And I watched it, I think it was last week, and I hadn't seen it in years. Really loved it. It was very much a psychological drama. Wasn't a thriller, but it was a drama. And whenever I'm really caught up in a movie, I'll talk to the screen. So I was just talking to the screen and I said, you know, these questions that I'm asking, they don't need answers. Just enjoy the drama that's being laid out before you. And I did, and I love it. So many thanks to Jeffrey Eugenides for his amazing works, and whatever else he writes, I know I'm going to read it. So this leads me to an author I'd never read before. I've heard a lot about him, and I just haven't gotten around to reading him. However, I was just kind of wandering through Inglewood Library when I discovered this slender little book, Congratulations, by the way, by George Saunders. And this, let me just read the dust jacket for you. So 3 months after George Saunders gave a convocation address at Syracuse University, a transcript of that speech was posted on the website of the New York Times, where its simple, uplifting message struck a deep chord. Within days, it had been shared more than 1 million times. Why? Because Saunders' words tap into a desire in all of us to lead kinder, more fulfilling lives. Powerful, funny, and wise, Congratulations, by the way, is an inspiring message from one of today's most influential and original writers. And about the writer, MacArthur Genius Grant Fellow George Saunders is the New York Times bestselling author of several collections of short stories, including 10th of December, Pastoralia, and Civil War Land in Bad Decline, as well as a collection of essays and a book for children. He teaches in the creative writing program at Syracuse University. So yes, this slender little book here with some illustrations about a night sky suddenly turning into day, or the opposite. This is how to be kinder, and why, more importantly, why is it so hard to be kind? It seems like it's so easy to hate. It's easy to be apathetic, but to actually be kind, it's a lesson that he states in his speech that even he is trying to relearn. He thought about a childhood memory in which he wasn't looking back as kind as he could have been to a student that went to school with him, and how that kind of plagued him through the years, but how to live a life of kindness, how to just live that life. It's hard, but it's very rewarding and fulfilling. And just a little personal note. So my mission for the past quite some time has been to be kinder, to show up with my character. And so one thing that I do, I mean, I've always done it, but I really pay attention to it, is opening the door for someone. You know, a lot of people don't even think about it. You hold open the door, somebody walks through, they may say thank you, they may not, or somebody doesn't hold the door for you, and so they slam it right in front of your face just as you're entering the building. So I said, I want to really focus on that action. And so every time I go to the post office, if I see somebody coming either which way, I'll hold the door open. It's not because I'm trying to get a thank you. It's because it's just the right thing to do. And one thing that I've noticed is that the vast majority of people I've held the door open for have a look of surprise on their face, a little happy surprise. And again, I've had maybe 1 or 2 people who just walked right in and didn't even say thank you. And for literally 0.0005 seconds, I get a little bit frustrated. And then I stop and I go, what was the point of you opening the door? Were you opening the door because it was the right thing to do and you're being kind? Or were you opening the door so you can get a thank you? That made me think. So congratulations, by the way, was a nice little reminder that it is hard to be kind, but it's also very beautiful as well. And so it does receive 5 pots of excellent tea from Viridian Tea House. I really enjoy little books like these, speeches or poems or a story or what have you. I've just found that books like these have the most impact on my life. Just another personal thing. So I've been reading a lot. I'm starting to get into rereading a lot of philosophy. And I do have a couple of books upstairs that I'm just ready to dive into. I've been asking a lot of questions about life and living and how we interact with each other and things like that. And this has been going on ever since I turned 50 last year. I'm just noticing that a lot of things that I took for granted, a lot of things that I didn't really see the value of, now I do. And something so small as reading this book just kind of turned on this light bulb in my head and went, yeah, I get it. So many thanks to George Saunders for that book. Thank you so much. And now the final book is a children's book that I've been wanting to read for the longest time, mostly because the theme of it is about tea, but this is such a cute book, and it is Tea with Grandpa by Barney Saltzberg. And it is basically about a little girl meeting up with her grandpa for tea every day at 3 p.m. And let's see, spending time with grandpa is always fun. When it's time to say goodbye, we know it's not for long because we're never too far apart to have a cup of tea together. And about the author, Barney Saltzberg is the writer and illustrator of over 30 books, including the Kisses series and Beautiful Oops. He lives in Los Angeles, California with his wife and 3 dogs, where he writes, draws, and creates and sings songs for children. Barney and his wife mostly drink coffee, but they've been known to have a spot of tea from time to time. So this is just the cutest little book about having a cup of tea with your grandpa or with a friend or with your parent or a loved one or what have you. But yeah, it's always a lovely time for a cup of tea. So many thanks for reading that book too. So now, speaking of tea, we're going to get to the tea portion. And this is one of my blends. This is the Art of Photography blend. So there's a story. Well, I always tell customers there's a story behind all of my blends. So with this particular blend, I actually had another Art of Photography blend, and it just didn't execute it right, just for a myriad of reasons. So I just did away with it. So fast forward to 4 months ago, I decided, it's time for me to bring back the Art of Photography, but shift it just a little bit. And so the Art of Photography tea blend is lapsang shousang, dried orange peel, and cardamom pods. And the reason why I chose those ingredients was mostly because, I don't know if you can see the label, but so once upon a time, I used to own several old vintage cameras, and I spent an afternoon in my apartment taking black and white photos of the different angles of the cameras. And I called it the Mad Ones. And I really liked what I did. Well, fast forward to now, I found all my photos and I'm actually printing them and selling them on my website, viridianteacompany.com. So when I made this blend, I said, let's go back to like the Polaroids, the old-timey cameras, when photography was first born, that smoky, dark kind of feeling, hence the ingredients that I used in the blend. My boyfriend tried it when I first made it, and he said, it's like sitting in a dark room. And I thought, okay, we're going to go with that. So from me to you in my lovely Sakura mug, a little bit of the Art of Photography blend. So I let this steep longer than the 5 to 7 minutes, mostly because I was eating lunch. But I'll tell you something, when people smell my lapsang shousang blends, they're always like, oh my God, that's so strong. And I say, yes, it is. But when you actually make it, when you steep it, It's not like you're drinking in smoke. This has a nice pine woodsy flavor to it, but it's not overpowering. Couple that with the cardamom pods and the lemon peel. Is it the lemon peel? Yeah. Oh, orange peel, excuse me. Coupled with the orange peel and the cardamom, it mellows it out, but you still get, like, as I'm talking, my mouth feel is it's smoky, smooth, and makes you want to just grab a camera and just run around and take pictures and develop them in a dark room. Now with that second sip, I got more of the orange peel and the cardamom coming in, but none of the ingredients is overpowering the other two. This is a nice balance. I was about to say delicate. This is not delicate, but this is a nice balanced smoky blend. And it's perfect for if you're in your house stuck because there was a winter storm that happened the night before, which we are, but thankfully it's melting right now. This is a perfect drink to have while you're sitting in your living room or in your bedroom and you're watching the snow melt outside and you've got a really good thick book and you have an hour to just enjoy yourself. That's what this tea is all about. And taking really beautiful pictures. Oh yeah, the orange peel and the cardamom are definitely starting to kick it up a notch, mingling with the lapsang shusang, but that's excellent. So you can get bags of the Art of Photography blend through my website, viridianteacompany.com. I always put the website on the video so you can order. I think I still have regular and sample sizes. Plus I have 11 or 12 other blends in stock as well. So check out the company and see what we have and order yourself a bag of tea or two for yourself or for a friend. And now, before I send you off on your way, let's do a water, tea, breathing meditation. I'm not going to go through the rules. Y'all already know. Just make sure you got a glass of water or a cup of your favorite tea nearby. Let's begin. And now let's end this breathing meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to come back into focus. And now let's have a sip of your water or tea. That's delicious. So that's all I have for today. Many thanks to the authors for their wonderful books, to Inglewood Public Library for having those books, to the great folks at Viridian Tea Company for their delicious blends, and for all of y'all for watching these videos. I always say it and I always mean it. I truly do appreciate you watching them. Thank you. And I really like it when I get comments. It's really cool to be like, oh, wow, thanks for noticing that. So until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high. And remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. I will see y'all really soon. Bye for now.